Lord Chaitanya. The Lord Chaitanya actually is very interesting. He's known by many different names. He's known as the golden incarnation or the golden avatar. He's also known as a Channa avatar, which means a hidden incarnation. So when Krishna appears, when he appears, he actually declares to the whole world that here I am. And this is who I am. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about himself, that I am the thread on which everything is resting and I'm the source of everything. But in this form, he actually hides his divinity. And he just shows himself, or only his very intimate associates know him
as Krishna.
Otherwise, he just he behaves like a devotee, and so he's called a Channa avatar. And for those of you who are interested, we could actually post on Circle SO the different references from different ancient Vedic texts like the Upanishad, the Srimad Bhagavatam, references to Lord Chaitanya. Because that's how we know if someone is actually an incarnation or not. It's not by popular vote. It's not because someone's part of my family or my village. It's actually based on scientific evidence coming from these ancient texts. So maybe that's something we should do.
Yeah, we'll find it posted.
So we'll go through these.
Just 1 second, let me turn on the PowerPoint.
And this is our verse for today.
Ainandatanaja kinkaram patitamam vishme bhavam budho kripaya tava pada pankaja stitadhuli sadrisham vichintaya.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servitor, and although I am so, somehow or other I have fallen in the ocean of birth and death. Please therefore pick me up from this ocean of death and fix me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet. such a beautiful, beautiful verse. It's one of my favorite verses. And it's actually also can be considered like a Rasayan verse, like when we are chanting, we can actually really meditate on this particular verse to really call out. Great feeling.
So Nanda Tanuja, that's the name for Krishna. Krishna's father's name when he appears here is Nanda. So Tanuja means the son. So Krishna is the son of Nanda. And it's very interesting. He could have called, Lord Chaitanya could have called Krishna directly here, but Krishna likes to be called in reference to the names of his devotees. So Nanda, Tanuja. So when we call Krishna in reference to his devotees, dear devotees, then Krishna is even more merciful. So this is the reason he's been called Nanda Tanuja.
And the other thing that is being mentioned here is Patitam Vishnu. So there is a sense in which he's calling himself Patitam, which means that I've fallen, and this is actually this acknowledgement that I need help is actually the starting point of bhakti. When we start calling out in this mood of abject humility, that I have found myself in this place, and now please help me. For me, what captures my attention is this word bhavam buddho, which means this great ocean of birth and death. So actually, this whole material world is actually compared to a vast ocean. And I think we mentioned this earlier, that there's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam which says that the amount of tears that a living entity sheds in their entire journey of this material world is actually enough to fill a vast ocean. And so this ocean is so ferocious, and it is so dangerous, and it's impossible actually to overcome it. And so, Prabhupada actually uses many different analogies to talk about this idea of crossing this ocean. He says, for example, that you really can't cross an ocean just by catching the tail of a dog. That's not possible. He also says that even if you're an expert swimmer, even if you're the most expert swimmer, Olympic, a swimmer of the caliber of being at the Olympics level, still, how far can you actually swim in an ocean before one actually begins to get tired? So, so what to speak of this vast, unlimited ocean of material existence? And so what is the way around it? Or the third thing is that somebody could say, well, I'm just going to stand on the shores and wait for the waves to recede, and then I will, try to cross over it. And again, the Vedas, they implore us that if one waits for that, then one will keep waiting forever, because the waves will never subside, which means that this material realm is never going to be a peaceful place. There's always danger at every step. Every time we think that things are settling down, and the coronavirus in the last 2 years has really shown us that every time we think, okay, we're all right, we're good, we've conquered it, then again it shows its ugly face in some other way. And it's symbolic of the way this material world works, that even in our own lives, we think, okay, I got all my problems, all my ducks in a row, I'm good, and then something happens, something erupts without our knowledge. So the idea being that one cannot really cross over this ocean by thinking that my life is somehow going to subside and everything is going to be good, and then I'll be able to do this, very important part, work of my life. So what is the solution? So then the Vedas go on to describe that how actually you need a boat. You need a suitable boat. In order to cross a vast ocean, what is required is actually a suitable boat. And so this human body that we receive after countless, after traveling through countless other bodies in the lower species, is actually compared to a suitable boat. It's a very powerful boat. It's actually our exit. It's our portal to the other dimension, to the spiritual dimension. And so when we take full advantage of this boat, of this human body, and then what else is required to actually cross over this vast ocean? You need a favorable winds, right? So any expert sailor will tell us that in order to cross an ocean, you need the winds to be in your favor. So the Vedas describe that actually this great wisdom, this great knowledge that has been handed down by all these great acharyas, these great teachers, they're actually compared to this favorable winds that can actually help us. And then you also need an expert captain. And so again, these great teachers who are expert, and they know how to navigate this vast ocean, and they know how to cross over it safely. They're the captain. So with all of these favorable circumstances all coming together, this is actually a very, very rare opportunity. I was also thinking that another example that is actually used in our Vedas to show the rarity of this great opportunity is by comparing that, say, in a vast ocean, there is a turtle that is swimming, and then there is a ring that is floating on that ocean. Now, what are the chances for that turtle to poke its head up at the same time that that ring actually comes around its neck? It's I don't even know what the mathematical probability of that would be, but it's an extremely, extremely rare condition. So, in a lifetime where we have a human body, and then we get to meet this great wisdom, which is compared to, so the body is the boat, and then you get the knowledge and the wisdom, that is the favorable winds, and then you meet great teachers, who have handed down this knowledge, who are ready to be the captain of our ship. That is actually compared to the probability of the turtle poking its head up and the ring falling around its neck. So having so many wonderful things all aligning itself in just the right time, if we do not take advantage of it, then actually we have missed a great opportunity, and we have not been able to realize our fullest potential. So therefore, when we realize this condition, then we can actually call out that, I am in this condition. Please pick me up. Let me not be tossed around. None of us actually we're not meant to be tossed around by these waves. That's not our destiny. But we find ourselves with that destiny where we have no control over our lives. Any next moment, anything can be taken away. We can find ourselves in situations that are very embarrassing and very difficult. So we have this great opportunity now to call out, and just by calling out, actually, Krishna is very responsive, because he's sitting in the heart. He immediately gives us all even more facilities. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that I give that devotee the knowledge and the wisdom by which he or she can return back to me. So with that, let's try and chant in this mood of supplication, that please, I'm begging you. This whole process of bhakti is really about becoming a beggar, a transcendental beggar, and really, really, desiring. Our desires are very powerful, and if we can refine our desires, where we really call out in this mode of like, I really need help, then we will be amazed to see how, the doors of mercy will completely open, and we'll find ourselves just lifted up from our place of suffering and misery. Now, somebody might say that, oh, I don't know if I really think that my life is like a vast ocean. So again, that may be the case, that we may feel that the ocean right now is a very friendly place, but anyone who has been in an ocean for a long time knows that the waves can at any time create trouble. They built this amazing ship called the Titanic, which basically sank. So the ocean is not a place where you want to be forever. So even though we may feel like my life right now is going well, but we should still not trust the ocean. I think Prabhupada says, trust no future, however bright it may seem, or however safe it may seem. So anyways, let's see what the time is. Let's try and chant together, and then we can discuss further. So just give me a minute. I'm just going to try. I'm not so good at, what do you do? Alternate control tab. Okay, is it alt tab? Okay. Okay, so here is this. So let's, yeah, so let's chant, bringing our consciousness and our attention to the present moment, leaving behind all the distractions we've had throughout the day, all the thoughts we may have in our mind, which are pulling us in so many different directions. And let's become aware of the fact that we are seated in this body, and that we are not this body, and we're simply traveling in this body which is compared to a boat. And so we have the freedom to take this boat in whatever direction we like. So let's really call out to the Supreme Divine Person, that we can steer our boat towards his lotus feet. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you all for completing day 16 of our mantra meditation challenge. So we'll now take reflections or questions or comments or anything that you want to maybe talk about. I think Amritvani, do they need to be unmuted?
No, Mataji is already unmuted.
Okay. If anyone doesn't have a reflection, I guess. Yes, go ahead, Amrita.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So I was just thinking that that how you compared this this body to a boat, and that we should be able to steer it in the right direction. So I was just thinking that the direction is so important, that we need to know where we are going. And the thought came into my head about how the rivers, when they are flowing, even though they take twists and turns, they always know their destination.
Mhm.
So just like that, it's very important for us to, keep focus on that destination that we are going to.
So beautiful.
Beautiful example.
Example. Thank you. It's very, very nice.
And nothing can obstruct a river. That's another quality of a river. You can put any obstruction, but river just still flows through.
Finds a way around.
So I guess that's how we want to make our bhakti, that there will be obstacles because of this body, mind, and so many obstacles will come. But we find a way around it. Rather than trying to fight with the obstacle, we find a way around it.
Actually, it's so interesting. We keep talking about this ghat or this river bank where we go and we sit. And sometimes when we go and we sit, we think, we keep staring at the river. And it seems like the river is not even moving sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, really, this river is going to make its way to the ocean? Like it goes and I think it meets in Ganga Sagar, right?
It meets Ganga first and then meets Ganga.
Ganga, you're right. Yeah. So, we keep looking and yet it's moved. So sometimes in our own spiritual life, it may feel like we're just moving so slow or we're hardly moving or we may not even feel that movement. But as long as we are in the flow, we are moving. And being in the flow means being in the association. So I think
Turtle
had a
point,
very
yes.
nice. I can see that this is a very good.
Posters. I've been going through an imposter syndrome, feeling like my efforts aren't true or real enough. It's a very good feeling to have actually in bhakti, is that I'm not qualified to do. But somehow at the same time, when we feel grateful to be able to come in touch with this and opportunity to do it, however imperfectly we may do it, that really is very powerful.
I was just thinking that how Sachinandan Swami uses the word divided soul. So one of the reasons why we feel like an imposter is because right now we are dealing with, a self that wants to go in one direction and the other self which is conditioned to be a certain way. And sometimes we don't know, which one is really, like we feel this tug of war. And so it is completely natural for us to feel like an imposter for a while, actually. And the way we can actually use this sort of imposter syndrome to our advantage is by really, like this is what the devotees, great devotees do, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, I am just, I have no devotion.
Yeah, we are in Mayapur and we see there are so many advanced devotees here, amazing souls, and we feel like an imposter here. Totally imposter.
Like, okay, like, we got here by mistake. What are we doing here?
We will be kicked out.
Yeah, we'll be kicked out. It's just, and I think this is a good way to think. This is the best way to think. Radhanath Swami says something very beautiful. He says, if one thinks that one has even an iota of devotion, that means that we don't have devotion. The very nature of devotion is that, even Radha, Srimati Radharani, who's like the topmost devotee, she says that I don't even have an iota of bhakti.
Other devotees have.
And then this is how actually she recommends to Krishna. Whenever someone approaches, when we approach Radha, then she goes to Krishna and she says, this devotee is actually much greater than me. So please accept him or her.
And today's verse actually kind of relates to that, because we are in this ocean because we are so conditioned, and that's why we feel like an imposter. And that's how we can actually call out with that feeling that I am an imposter, Krishna. You know that I'm such an imposter, but you are so merciful that you even give shelter to imposters. So
yeah, actually we can use, like, this is when we read the Bhagavatam, this is what's going on. They're saying, someone's saying, I'm born in a demoniac family. Someone's saying, I am just a little boy. Someone's saying, I have, anyways, my mind is attracted to fruitive activities. Please don't grant me a benediction, like that. Another, for me personally, when I pray, sometimes I say that, like, I was thinking that when people go to college, there is this extra advantage or extra, support that's given to first generation college goers. So I always pray like that I'm a first generation, college goer, because of my family. No one's actually done this. I never had any background. So please be merciful. I have no background. I have no knowledge, growing up, I didn't have this, in my in my DNA. So please, so like that, everything that is a disadvantage that we think is actually holding us back can actually become the force with which we can approach Krishna.
I guess the main thing is to have that enthusiasm and the determination. And when Krishna sees that, okay, I don't have anything, but Krishna, I want you. I don't have a penny in my pocket, but Krishna, I still want you.
Yeah.
Then Krishna says, okay, our eagerness becomes our currency.
Nice. I hope that helps, Turtle.
Yeah, no, it's really helpful. You hit the nail on the head when you said it feels like you have two souls moving in different directions. That's how I wrote it. I wrote about it the other morning, that it felt like I was sort of letting myself go, but also clinging to my coattails at the same time. Like there may be some releasing of the ego or something like that, that the ego is not happy about, or something like that. It definitely tied into maybe a grasping on to all the ways that I identify myself, and it's all very confusing still, but
Yes, and it's going to be like that for a while. It's what we deal with. As we go through this transformation, it's sort of like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, and you can see sometimes, like there's still a little bit of that butterfly emerging, but still, parts of the caterpillar still there. So we are in a state of transition, and the good news is that it takes less time than we think. So, thank you. Anyone else? Misha, any thoughts from you? Or anyone? Mel?
No, I've been just very sick. I whole last week I had corona, so you saw me missing. But it's been very nice to come and join in these times as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you
How
for
are you feeling
joining.
now?
How are you feeling?
I'm better now. Now I'm much better. But last week was a little tough, but now it's better.
Good.
Thank you.
Very happy to hear that. Renu, any thoughts from you? It's always good to hear your questions and your comments.
Nothing, nothing major. Just, one of the statements that you made, I really, would like to take that away. That you just need to call out for Krishna, and he's always there. To lift you up. So I think that's very, very. I love that part.
Well, you're very fortunate that you love that part. You're really fortunate to love
Even in this lifetime, if we can call out Krishna even once with that feeling that Krishna, I really need you, with that really coming from the core of our heart, that one call is enough to capture Krishna. So when we're chanting, that's the one call we want to make in our lifetime. That Krishna, I really need you.
Yeah.
All right, Amrita, go ahead.
yeah, I just had one question. Like you talked about like the obstacles that we will face, in the path of bhakti. Do these obstacles, they do appear to slow us down, but I was just wondering if they really slow us down, or are they actually accelerating the process?
Obstacles are all designed by Krishna, so they're never meant to slow us down, but to make us stronger, to help us become healthier. Just like a doctor, when he does the surgery, it seems like the surgery has slowed me down, but actually it's meant to help us recover. So all these obstacles are meant to help us see what our blocks are in our heart, and work with them to take them out with Krishna's help. And the obstacles are also to increase our eagerness to serve Krishna. There's so many reasons for these obstacles.
I was just remembering this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, where it says that when you have to walk, then there has to be some friction. The feet has to meet some friction for there to be movement. So same way, like there is no movement without friction. And so these obstacles are the way that we are able to overcome our lower nature. And without that, there is no, we cannot, sometimes we think, okay, I'm just going to be in my comfort zone, and it's all going to be this bed of roses, and I'll just walk on it. And actually, in order to develop this love, it's that burning in the heart, that churning within the heart. Just like when you want to make butter, when you want to make ghee, that butter has to be put on fire, and that's how the impurities rise to the top. So without these obstacles, we would not be able to actually. There's this great devotee. Remember, we were talking with Giri Govardhan Prabhu, and he said that's, it's required for us to have those realizations.
Yeah, the smooth sailing in Krishna consciousness. Obstacles means that we have been practicing bhakti. That's another sign. When Prabhupada, many times he'd see that the devotees were facing a lot of obstacles from the government, and devotees were even put into prison and things like that, then he would say, that means we are actually practicing, our bhakti is progressing because the world is taking notice and things are happening. So when obstacles come, that means we are practicing bhakti. And that will even speed us up even more. So you have to just the way we receive obstacles is the main thing. If we see them as obstacles, then they will act as obstacles. But if you see them as opportunities for further growth and Krishna's arrangement and mercy to bring us closer, then the obstacles, Krishna can make them disappear.
They become the stepping stones, actually. And I was also thinking another reason why the obstacles will come, because there is Maya Devi, and it's her job actually to, so we are actually trying to now leave her kingdom where we have been for like countless lifetimes. And so, she being a great devotee, she's actually Durga, she wants to make sure that, we say, all right, I want to go back. So like, all right, really? You really want to go back? Let's see. So she starts sending these different tests and different obstacles, and when we can go through those obstacles, so what is the reason for exams? It's because it helps us move to the next grade. So every obstacle is an opportunity to actually move one step closer. There's so many reasons. I mean, the role of obstacles in the path of bhakti, one could actually give a whole class on that. It's very, very needed. Otherwise, we would feel like we are God's gift to mankind.
Yeah, if everything is going smoothly, then we develop this doer mentality even in bhakti, that okay, I'm such a great devotee and I can conquer bhakti, I've conquered everything else, I'll conquer bhakti. So when obstacles come, then we realize, okay, I'm not that great. I need to take shelter of Krishna and his devotees and fall on our knees and beg.
It's like putting gold in fire and letting the impurities burn off.
Yeah.
Anyways, we could go on and on. This is a big topic, so it's definitely not slowing us down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I guess we'll stop here, 7:45. Thank you all for joining. And we're so proud of all of you for making it. Now we are just another 5 more days. So stay with us. Don't fall off right now. We're going to complete our 21 days and then we'll see what you guys want to do further. So we'll talk about that too. All right. Hare Krishna, everyone. Bhuvaneshwari. Thank you, Raj.